It looked like somebody was bent over and had their head in the window of the deer blind. It either heard me or smelt me, and he pulled his head out of the tent and stood straight up, and that shocked me. They don't make people that big.
The way it moved, almost as if it was gliding across the beach. I've never seen anything move like that in my life. They were screaming at each other in gibberish. It sounded like a language, and they were chuntering away back and forwards, back and forwards, back and forwards. I know what a bear looks like, and there is no way on this planet that what I saw were bears.
What are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Zia!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
This is Mike Marois, and you're listening to Sasquatch Chronicles.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Got a great show planned for you tonight. We're going to be talking to Talon. And Talon's actually from Washington State. He's a sergeant with the Sheriff's Department, and he got called out to a logging crew that was being harassed. And it wasn't until he went out to investigate it, he found out must have been Sasquatch related after talking to the owner and everything. And Talon's actually had a lot of weird things happen to him throughout his life. And so I asked him if he'd share some of that with us tonight. We're going to also be talking to Casey. Casey lives in the Pacific Northwest now, but he grew up in Tennessee, and him and his family were out camping, and they came across a white creature. His whole family saw it. A very fascinating account. And then we'll wrap up with Raul. And Raul's from New Mexico. Raul actually sent me his encounter a while back, but he had heard something when he was out with his family. And Raul was listening to the show, and he thought, this is weird. This guy's listening to, UFO encounters, weird lights. And so he kind of shared with me a very strange UFO encounter that he had. And Raul's actually an outdoorsman. He knows a lot of the different animals, the bears, the cougars, and he was out with his family, and they heard a strange noise, a strange scream that kind of became laughter after the scream. So I asked him if he'd come on and share it, and also the UFO encounter. It's real bizarre. It's a very, very strange account. If you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. And coming up this weekend, I'm going to be having Chris on, who's been investigating the Bridgewater Triangle. I don't know if you guys have ever looked up the Bridgewater Triangle, but there is a ton of bizarre things that go on in that area. It almost makes Skinwalker Ranch look like Disneyland. And so he's going to be sharing a lot of that with us. If you get a chance, go on Amazon if you have Amazon Prime and watch the Bridgewater Triangle documentary. It's very well done. And they have lots of witnesses and evidence, and it's put together really well. Let's jump into it tonight. I want to welcome Talon to the show. Talon, thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here, and I know you're a police officer or sergeant with the Sheriff's Department, and you got called out to a very strange scene, logging crew. If you would you kind of take us back to that moment? Kind of tell us what happened when you got there? What did the guys tell you, and what was your overall take on what was going on?
So
he called in like a vandalism call. He didn't want to tell like all the details to our dispatch just because they'd probably think he's crazy. So it was down on Lynx Creek down in Inchelium on the Colville Indian Reservation. And this logging operation was punching in roads or new roads so they could get to those areas to log. So go up Lynx Creek like 14 miles, and then he's like another mile or two on this new road that he punched in. And when I got there, it was just the foreman or the guy in charge of the logging operation. And so we start to get talking, and he tells me that he had a crew there, and they were flagging where he was building the roads. The one guy on the one side of the road, he got like a boulder thrown at him, like right next to him. And then the guy on the other side got a boulder thrown next to him. And then they heard these screams. So they were gone. They took off. They're like, we're out of here. We're sitting in our car. And at that time, the foreman who's in the excavator, he looks over and sees like a big black, just this massive Sasquatch walking through the trees. And the other guys are so scared, they're just like, we're done. We're not coming back. So they quit. And he was just left to do this by himself. But he said, I have a contract. I have to finish it. And then they kind of had screams stuff going on for a while. By the time I got there, he was about wrapped up with the job. And overnight, one of the nights on the arm of the excavator, there was a spotlight on a cast iron bar, like 14 feet in the air. And when he came back the next day, that thing was bent over.
That's pretty creepy out there, and I've heard about them doing weird things like that with logging crews. I mean, you're out there in the country, the size of those water trucks. I've seen those, or I've talked to people who've said they were tipped over when they came back the next day. They were kind of on the job site. What did you think of the whole thing when you went out there? What was kind of your opinion?
I believe them. I mean, I've been fascinated with Sasquatch for years, and I've been documenting, encounters I found online and talking to people. I mean, this area has a rich history of Sasquatch, especially on the Colville Indian Reservation.
Yeah, the Colville Reservation definitely has a long history. You were telling me you were actually out doing an arrest and something weird happened to you. Do you mind sharing that with the audience?
Yeah. One night I was arresting this guy, and he's in the back of the car, and there's another deputy in front of me, but he was on the other side of the lake. And then I look up, like in a northwestern direction, above Mount Elizabeth, and here's this massive, like, green light in the sky. And I get out of my car, I got a laser, so I was trying to signal it, because I was like, I've never seen any aircraft like this, and just I know what's flying around and pay attention, because I'm out at night all the time. And this is just a big, massive light. There's no noise, there's no wings. I start radioing the other deputy. We both see this thing, but then I lose it over the tree line as it kind of goes past me. So the guy in the back that I was taking to jail, he's freaking out at this point, thinking we're going to get abducted. And I'm like, hold on, dude, just chill out. So we get back on the road, and I'm heading south towards the jail. And I look to my left, and like on the bridge line, that light is pacing my car. And so I'm radioing the other deputy again, and I slow down and roll down the window and grab my phone to try to get a video, and this thing dims its lights down and does a 180-degree turn in the air and just takes off north and is gone.
Did it have any sort of shape to it, or was it just a light? Do you remember?
It's just like this, like green light, like round, not anything that I could really see shape-wise. Like there was no wings.
Strange seeing that. A lot of people are seeing, it's funny, even the US government now is coming out and saying, yeah, they're real. They're these things flying around the sky, and there's really nothing we can do about it. A couple of years ago, they would have said, no, there's no such thing as UFOs. There's no, you guys are crazy. It's funny how they're changing their whole tune on UFOs, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of the government, what they say about that, this summer in Ferry County, we heard, like, I was inside my house, and there was this massive crash. Like, it shook the inside of the house, and I'm like, what the hell? My kids run out, and then I go outside because I was like, what just happened? And then I feel this percussion wave hit me on like a second blast, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, this percussion wave was felt probably, 40, 50-mile radius, and I felt the direction.